You are in the ring with Hector Colon, 7-time national boxing champion turned nonprofit president and CEO. Hector knocks out the big issues facing social services today with high impact leaders from around the U.S. In the Ring is a creation of Lutheran Social Services of Wisconsin and Upper Michigan and is produced by No Studios. And now, here's Hector Colon.
Hello, and welcome to In the Ring with Hector Colon, the show that gets real about the challenges facing the social services sector and the people we serve. Here's the bottom line. Pay is not commensurate to the value our colleagues provide society. Programs and policies are not evolving quick enough in order to address the true needs of the people we serve. And the financial viability of our sector is in jeopardy. It's not a fair fight. That's why this year we're going to take on these issues with individuals at the center of these challenges, true champions who are willing to get into the ring with me. As my coach Shorty used to say, let's go, champ. In the ring with me today is my dear friend, Frank Cumberbatch.
Thanks, Hector. So happy to be here with you.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to our interview. So let me share a little bit about Frank. Frank has more than 30 years of experience in public, private, and nonprofit sectors. He worked at Axe Housing as the program manager, where he empowered home ownership for thousands of people that would not have had that opportunity if it wasn't for him. He was in real estate and private development. He also was the former senior assistant for former Mayor Barrett in the city of Milwaukee. And he also ran for mayor in the city of Milwaukee. Now he's the vice president of engagement for Bader Philanthropies, an organization that has committed over $426 million worth of grants and program investments in the community. Frank will tell you one of his proudest moments at Bader Philanthropy is when he helped relocate Bader Philanthropy's headquarters right in the city of Milwaukee, close and proximate to the people that you serve.
That's right.
So Frank is a decorated athlete, winning 7 Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference titles through UW Oshkosh track and field program. He also has a wonderful family. His son also is going to be potentially a future Olympian.
We hope so.
Yes. Sadie is at West Point, which is the U.S. Military Academy. And Rachel, another daughter, she has a PhD in veterinary medicine. Congratulations for the wonderful family that you have, Frank.
Thank you very much.
Frank is also a member of board member of Lutheran Social Services of Wisconsin and Upper Michigan. Frank, you are a true friend, a blessed leader in this community, and we are so happy to have you on the LSS board and be a part of this family. Are you ready for round one?
Let's go.
Frank, you were recently featured in the Milwaukee Business Journal for the $80 million urban sports and wellness complex that you are now planning to do, and you want to do it right in the community to make sure that underserved individuals are served through this new beautiful complex. Tell us more about this.
Well, Hector, as you mentioned in the introduction, my accomplishments in sports. Well, it wasn't always that way. You know, I was a kid like any other kid we see in our urban communities, but it was sports, track and field, and the guys who were playing sports with a positive mindset who got me involved in sports. And I realized how much it centered my life, gave me purpose. And as a matter of fact, it is sports that got me sitting here with you. So a few years ago, I came up with the idea of if this could work for me, I'm a little guy from down the islands, you know, it could work for anybody. So I decided on the idea of building what started out as a sports facility. But some of my colleagues just, told me that it needed to be more than that. I ran into a guy named Damian Bookman, who's working with people with disabilities. You know, I noticed there are seniors walking in the malls. And I thought, you know what? We need a facility that could meet the needs of all of these folks. And I really believe by surrounding them with the proper mindset of individuals, we could take these young people and transform them into people who are even much more accomplished than me. And so that's the idea behind it. And I hope it turns out to be what we think it can be.
That's awesome and very inspiring. You know, persons with disabilities, persons that don't have the opportunity, have these beautiful facilities in their neighborhood. So I really want to commend you for taking this on. How's it going so far in terms of the fundraising?
Yeah, so far we're in the process of framing our capital campaign, and of course it's a heavy lift. It's $80 million, but I am committed to getting to the finish line because it's another obstacle, and what got me to this point in my life is running through obstacles. A lot of people put a lot of things in my way, including poverty, illiteracy. My parents couldn't read or write, but I took on the attitude that these are just little molehills, and I'm going to blow through them, and here we are. So 80 million, yeah, I think I could get there, but it needs the entire community in order to get it done, and I'm counting on all of Milwaukee to help me do that.
Frank, with your passion and purpose, I have absolutely no doubt that you will accomplish that goal and more. And it's going to be a blessing for so many people. So,
Yeah.
again, thank you for taking that on. You know, I had some previous guests that shared with us. You're very experienced in the philanthropy in the
Mhm.
community. And prior guest, Susan Dreyfus, said that we need to do a better job. It's so important to get our donors proximate to the services and the communities that we serve. What are your thoughts about that?
No doubt about it, because this is really not so much about money, right? Philanthropy is about understanding the needs of humanity, about those who do not have. They have dreams, they have hopes, they have fears. Moms care about what's going to happen to their children, right? And so, what philanthropy and people who give and people who care needs to do is to really get up close to the issues. One of the things about poor people that I think people don't understand: poor people and underserved people don't want people to do things for them. They want people to do things with them, right? And the only way you're going to do things with somebody is to get close to them, meet them where they are, right? So we can't have a philanthropic organization downtown in a high tower and talk about poverty on the Northwest side, right? And I'm so proud of Dan Bader and Bader Philanthropies and the board to recognize that and to say if we're going to get real return on our efforts, we got to get in there with the people. Listen, we had staff who were nervous, people ODing right in front of the door, drug addicts walking in asking for $1. But if you don't get an appreciation for that, you don't really understand the need.
Thank you so much, Frank. You know, we appreciate Bader, you, and all of the team that you have at Bader Philanthropies for
It's a
your
great team.
support at LSS and just really for all you do for the community. It's really impressive. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll let them know you said that.
Please do. Thank you. Thank you. So, how else can our sector really increase the trust with philanthropists and to remove those barriers, specifically around things with strict funding limits, the limitations that sometimes funders put on the things we can and cannot do?
One of the things we're seeing in the industry is the call for more unrestricted funding, right? And at Bader and in other philanthropic organizations around the country, we're taking a look at that, right? Is it really restrictive? Are we sort of controlling what the organizations can do. Some are saying to us, by giving in an unrestricted way, you're demonstrating trust, right? Because if we are going to invest in your organization, what we actually do in Hector is investing in you. You're the leader. You have to set the direction for the organization. We can't come in and do that, right? So we're taking a look at, do we demonstrate that trust by offering more of this funding unrestricted for the purpose for which you say you want to do it, instead of having it be program driven and a more narrow definition of what it is you want to do.
Again, thank you so much. We really appreciate the trust that you have given us with your flexibility on the dollars and allowing us to deploy them to have the biggest impact in our community. So we appreciate that very much. We do know that there is a movement to move more in that direction,
Mhm.
but we also know that not everybody's there. And so part of our discussion here today is to raise the visibility of this issue so that others can realize that this is something that's very important. So thank you for those insights. So that completes round one. In round two, we're going to dig deeper into the critical role of nonprofit boards. How do organizations need to develop and prepare its board members? And what is the board's responsibility to our community as well as our individual organization? Are you ready for round two?
I am. Let's have at it.
Frank, what is your particular passion and purpose for serving on nonprofit boards?
Hector, I wake up every morning thinking about helping people. Right? When I die, I hope they put on my tombstone, he helped people. That's all I do. I just want to be able to help people. And Beta Philanthropies have given me the opportunity to help people.
That's awesome. And not only Baylor Philanthropies, but it's in your soul and your heart.
Yeah.
And you've
It's
done
in my
it through
DNA.
other jobs that you've had and
Absolutely.
volunteer opportunities that you're engaged in. So it truly does come from your heart.
Yeah, I appreciate that you recognize that, because it's what brings me joy. I get my joy from saying something, doing something for somebody, and in helping people, it might be to energize them, say something that gives them a little bit of energy to keep going. It might be to lift them up when they're sad. It might be to motivate them to run a little faster, or to study harder. Whatever it takes, that's my joy.
Thank you. Thank you. What can organizations like LSS better prepare you and our board members for more success?
Well, for me personally, I don't know that you had to do much to prepare me, because I am your friend, and we've been friends for a long time, because we're aligned in our thinking and we're aligned in the way we see the world. And I think that's the approach that boards and LSS board has to take, right? Which is align yourself with people that supports the mission. You can't go and recruit a board member and then try to convince that board member to align with the mission, right? You have to work a little harder to find those people who, when they show up with the passion to get the work done and to help. They got to buy in before they get there. You can't take them because maybe they have resources or they know people, and when they get there, they don't have it in their soul to help this organization get to the next level.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm so honored and privileged to have an amazing board of directors that share your passion and really want to make a difference in the lives of others and are truly committed. I think that's one thing that we have at LSS that we can be very proud of is an outstanding board of directors that bring lots of knowledge and expertise, but also their hearts. And that's what you're really getting at is they have to have that heart.
But
They
that
can,
says something about you. The reason why that is you've done an excellent job of defining your brand. Who is Hector Colon? We can tell people who Hector Colon is. And you get Hector Colon or you don't. And so what you've done is surround yourself with the people who get Hector Colon. And so if you don't like Hector Colon, just keep going, right? And you've done a great job of bringing the people around you who have that servant leadership kind of quality, who really could see the big picture, who could keep their eyes on the prize and get the work done. And don't change a thing. That's what you do. That's who you are. And that's what makes you and LSS successful.
Thank you. And these are individuals like yourself that really want to live out the mission of LSS, and that is to act compassionately, serve humbly, and lead courageously. That's what our board of directors bring to the organization, and we are so happy about that. I want to preface this next question with a comment that Susan Dreyfus made when we were talking about mergers and acquisitions. She said that it's the board's responsibility that if a president and CEO is leaving an organization, that they should look at a merger and acquisition opportunity as an option before hiring the next CEO. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I could see the perspective from where she's coming from, right? The current CEO is left, right? And is there an opportunity to put another organization on the table through a merger to see if we could lift the organization to the next level? But that's on the service level. In terms of the CEO itself, if the person's leaving was successful, you have to try to find someone to replace that CEO who has that same passion, who has that fit for the organization, who is qualified to run the organization where it is. For example, if it's a startup social service organization, that takes a different kind of leadership from if it's a mature organization, right? And it takes different characteristics and personalities to do that kind of work. Is a merger of another organization the right thing to do? I don't really know, but it's worth considering. But I don't see that as a real viable option in replacing the person. For growing the organization, maybe, but you have to look for that fit. That it still has to have a leader. One person at the end of the day is responsible for the direction and the motivation of those employees who report there for work.
I think that's a great insight that not automatically would a merger and acquisition be the best thing. It's really about that leader. Maybe that organization has that right leader that could be of value to LSS.
That's the possibility.
But if not, we have to make sure that we're looking at the person and the leader and the value and experience they bring to effectively continue to lead LSS forward.
Well, I think there's one other component that I think you left out that's critical, and that's culture, right? The leader may set the culture of the organization. Is this an organization that embraces equity? Is there an organization that embraces creativity, right? Is this an organization that lets their employees fail? The only way you learning happens when you fail, right? And so some organizations don't tolerate failure. You do it this way because that is the way we've always done it. In some places, you don't want to go and work there, right? Because you want the employees to think and be innovative and push the limits, because that is how you get to the next level. So you have to take the culture and everything involved. So you better be careful for who you're merging with.
Right. Frank, I love that idea of failure, allowing us and a willingness to allow people to fail. I believe very strongly that if we don't allow that and have the spirit for that, we're never going to reach our full potential. The nonprofit sector, though, with our margins so slim, it always is a challenge for us.
Mhm.
That's why we need donors and individuals like you that believe in that, that can support us and give us the opportunity to do something new and innovative, even though if there's a chance we might fail, because through that failure we might achieve a breakthrough. But we also might fail and learn from those failures and become more resilient.
But here's where this funder grantee relationship breaks down in what you're saying, right? Most grantees think, okay, I have to go tell the donor what they want to hear, right? They have that. You look on their website, they have a mission, they have certain things they support, right? What you just said is actually, I think, the better way to do this. Come forward and tell the donor, we would like some resources to try something. It might fail, but if it succeeds, we think we will make a huge difference in the lives of some people that we're not reaching right now. We're open for that. But don't come and tell us, oh, well, we are going to do A, B, and C. Why? Because you looked on our website and it says we do A, B, and C. That is a recipe for failure, but not failure in from the standpoint of learning. Tell the truth. We're trying this. We think we see a void. We're not absolutely certain it would work, but here's what we're certain of. If we don't do it, we will fail. Say so, because we want you to succeed, right? Remember, we're not in this business of making money, so we're not looking at this on a return on investment to us. When do we get our 20% back on top of our capital? We don't look at it as that. Are you trying to solve a problem? Not every problem gets solved. But you know what? Take a shot at it.
Love it. Love it. If we don't do it, we fail.
You fail.
That's great. That's great, Frank. Well, that completes round 2. In round 3, Frank and I are going to get real about equity, diversity, and inclusion. It's a topic that has helped shape our personal lives as well as our professional lives. And we both agree that a conversation on equity and diversity and inclusion needs to happen in order for our community to reach its full potential. Frank, are you ready for round 3?
Let's go.
Frank, you and I recently shared some stories, some personal stories about equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I shared with you one time when I was the Director of Health and Human Services in Milwaukee County. And there was an alderman or a county supervisor who shared with Chris Abley, said, I think Hector Colon is starting to rub me the right way. I'm starting to like some of the things that he's doing, but we need a minority in this position.
Wow.
I shared that with you, and you also had similar stories that you shared with me. Could you please share your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I mean, mine was similar. You know, you mentioned in the intro, I was part of Mayor Barrett's staff. So we had a situation where, a few African American folks wanted to see the mayor, and what he would do is have me sit in with them. So we sit down, and the issue was, we need African Americans in the mayor's office. So the mayor said, well, this guy right here, what is he? And he goes, no, he's not African American. He is from the islands. They come to America. They send their children to Ivy League schools. And he is not who we're talking about. We want American black people. And I thought, wow, that is an interesting situation to be in, because all of the lessons I learned along the way from what I read or whatever, there is always a black-white issue, right? And I think we don't tackle inclusion from within, right? Because we still have people who, even inside the race, don't see everybody the same. So it makes for an interesting experience.
That's a very interesting point, that there are times where we don't have inclusion within our own,
Absolutely. Quite a bit, actually.
Latinos, Mexicans are disagreeing with Puerto Ricans at times, and we're Latinos and we're brown, and you're black, from Trinidad, from the island, and for some, you've experienced that maybe you're not black enough.
Not black enough. Maybe it's my little accent, or whatever. I love Latino people.
Yeah.
I have white friends, Asian, and maybe I'm spreading myself too thin. I really don't know the answer to why we get this kind of behavior, but it is important to call out that equity and inclusion is not something between people of color and whites only.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And one of the things I love about LSS is that our core value is we believe in the infinite worth of all people, no matter your race, your background, your color. We're there to serve you, to love you, to take care of you, to hire you, to be your friend. And I believe that the board and yourself really embodies that core belief. So it's another blessing that we have at LSS. I want to continue on with this conversation. Why is it important today to get real about equity, diversity, and inclusion? And start off by sharing, what does that actually mean about getting real about equity, diversity, and inclusion?
Well, the reason why we have to get real is because right now it's more soundbite than it is outcome driven, right? To put on the homepage of your website that you support diversity and equity and inclusion is nothing. It doesn't do anything, right? To get real, and this is from my perspective, getting real is identifying where we are and setting a hard goal as to where we want to be. So I'll give you an example. If you're a corporation, it might be a publicly traded corporation, and your paid board has 0 people of color on it. It's 2022. You know what getting real is? December 31st, 2023, 45% of your board will be made up of people of color, right? And you make that statement and you say, hold me to it, right? And you tell your investors, you tell your stockholders, this is what we are going to do. And if you don't like it, sell your stock. That is getting real, because just the surface stuff alone doesn't do us any good.
45%, that's pretty aggressive. And but I get your point. I think it's important that we focus at the top, at the board level, at executive levels within these major corporations, because that is what will bring equity, diversity, inclusion within those organizations. I think a lot of times in our society, when we talk about equity, diversity, and inclusion, we look at the technical things that is a behavioral problem. So, for example, you'll require a training, or you'll change a policy, or you might even hire one person in a division to move forward equity, diversity, inclusion. But I really like about how you're talking about it from an outcome. What are the outcomes we want to do? I would just add on top of that is those authentic conversations that need to happen. And when I mean authentic, I mean that we don't have to agree on every single thing, but how can we have empathy and walk in each other's shoes to understand one another, and love each other through that process? I think more of that needs to happen than what is happening today.
I for me, and I'm biased in this comment, Better Philanthropies is the poster child for that, right? We the organization is born out of Jewish values. However, we have over 50% women on the staff, way more than 75% non-Jewish people, right? We have this statement that we call cultural intentionality, right? We see people as people. So inside of that organization, we don't have to hold classes in equity and inclusion. We live the thing, right? We do it in our hiring. We do it in our promotion. We do it in every single thing that we do. We see the individuals as human beings first, right? And last, so that everybody knows you have the opportunity to say how you feel, put your point on the table. You will win some, you will lose some, but we will never attack you as an individual.
Love you, Frank. You have a heart of gold, man. You really
That's how we
provide
have to do it.
a lot of great insights, and you're a great person and friend. You know, I've been asking all these guests just one final question: how are you knocking out 2022? If you can share both personally as well as professionally.
Well, personally, I have to come back to my 3 children and my wife. You know, I'm a blessed man, right? I have 3 children. I made one simple little decision to get an education. And out of that move, my 6 siblings are no longer in poverty. My children are thriving in every single thing they're attempt to do. And I give my wife and the kids the credit for trying to achieve and be the best they can be. So to knock out 2022 is the young man Nathan is the last of the 3. He's entering
Future Olympian.
yes, he's on a track to be an Olympian. He's smart, AP physics, 3 AP courses. Will knock out 2022 by him achieving all the goals and all the dreams that he wants, bring joy to his mother and me, and keep on going. And by the way, that's an example I give for my family. I want that for every single family in these United States of America.
That's awesome, Frank. Again, you're not focusing on yourself, you're focusing on your family and others, and you're a blessing. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much.
Frank, you knocked it out, baby.
Thanks, man.
Good one.
Appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for getting me in the ring. It's a little nerve-wracking being in this ring here with you. You know, you're Olympic caliber yourself, so it always gets me a little nervous to be with you. But I love you so much. You're great. You're a great man with a great family, and you're the kind of guy I want around me. So this was a joy.
Likewise, Frank. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Frank. I want to recap some of the great insights that you provided us with. You know, as board members, we need to address the needs of humanity. There are many people in our world that are suffering, that need a little bit of help. You talked about how we should bring our donors closer to the issues so that they can fully understand the difference that we're making in the lives of those that have incredible odds stacked up against them. And when we help people, that brings us joy. That brings Frank joy. That brings us joy. That's why LSS does all of the great work that we do, because we feel that joy that we're making a positive difference in the lives of others. Frank talked about making sure that a CEO brings on board members that are truly aligned with the mission, truly aligned with the impact that we're trying to make. So it doesn't always benefit the organization to bring an individual who has lots of financial capacity if they don't truly believe in the mission and difference that we make in the lives of others. We talked about M&A. So previously, Susan Dreyfus said that when a CEO leaves, that the board should automatically move forward with considering a merger and acquisition. And Frank had some disagreements with that. His major focus was that you got to make sure that the next CEO embodies the leadership, can continue the culture. And in our case at LSS, he talked about servant leadership and equity, diversity, inclusion. So while it might be a great opportunity, and I think it should be, you always have to make sure, according to Frank, that you have that right leader to lead the organization. I also really liked when he shared about how that we should tell donors that we're taking a chance and that we actually might fail. And he thought that donors would really respect that. But we might fail, but we also might succeed, allowing us to do something that's transformational in the community. I like that. I like that perspective. And we talked a lot about equity, diversity, inclusion. Frank talked about how it's easy to have a soundbite or a statement on a website, but we need to get real. And for him, he shared an example what getting real means. He said some corporate board of directors, public companies might have zero diversity on their board in 2022. He said an example of getting real is that by 2023, that board will have 40%, 45% people of color. And Frank also shared that Bader Philanthropies is leading the way. They're a Jewish organization. They have 50% women, 75% individuals that are non-Jewish. They are always talking about being culturally intentional through their hiring and through their promotions. So thank you so much, Frank, for sharing your great insights. It means a lot to us, and we all learn a great deal. Thank you. Next month, I will get in the ring with M3 Insurance CEO Mike Vickerson and his partner and managing director, Chris Kenyon. The two will share about their group's approach to risk management, rates and liabilities, health insurance, and we will also talk about the social determinants of health. M3 is our newest sponsor of In the Ring with Hector Colon. You will learn more about this great organization in future episodes. Thank you so much, M3. You can find out more about In the Ring with Hector Colon and all of our episodes on our website at lsswis.org/inthering. Let us know what you think about this show and what you want to see in future episodes. Like, follow, and share at LSSWIS on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of these important conversations in the future. All right. Thank you, Frank. And to all our listeners, until next time, con mucho cariño, with much affection. Bye.